Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics, unit number 11, principles of metallurgy, series number 6 is going to be discussed. In the earlier session, we completed what is meant by metallurgy and how the metal extracted from the earth and how it will be processed in order to convert a crude mineral into a purified metal. How many methods get followed in order to extract the metal in the purified form. All these topics were discussed in the earlier session. In addition to all these, Unit 1 to Unit 10, entire detailed explanation available on the channel called World of Competitive Chemistry. Now, we entered into the concept. So when this metal is extracted from the earth crust, so if it is not properly treated, so how it will be deteriorated, what kind of consequences we will face. That is also the part of metallurgy after the extraction. So extraction requires much amount of effort, much amount of strategical plan is required, and what method to be applied in order to extract in a purified form. Everything is required, and that is highly expensive in nature. When we are taking the huge amount of mineral, very small amount of metal get extracted after the completion of entire process of that purification. That's the reason why it's very important, and the immense concentrations to be paid. So in order to protect after the purification, in order to fabricate, in order to mold into our desired product, having a proper application. So it's a very important to do its proper protection. If it is not properly protected, what kind of consequences, how it get corroded? These topics are going to be discussed in the series number 6. Let us enter into our series number 6 now. So what is meant by metal corrosion and how it is possible? Right. So here corrosion is nothing but whenever. So in general, in our daily life, we can observe that any rod of metal was taken and placed in the open air for some days, for few days without any movement, without any displacement. If it is placed in the particular place, especially in the watery conditions, under moisture conditions, it is placed in the open air. What happens after few days, we can observe a layer on that. A powdery layer formation is possible, and if that continued for several days, what happens? It will be easily broken, and a failure of that kind of a rod, metal rod, what we placed is possible. That's simply said to be a corrosion. So we know how the efficient the metal is, how strong the metal is, and how many ways we can apply that metal in our day-to-day applications. If it is not properly treated, what kind of consequences we will face, those are going to be discussed here. Right. Corrosion of the metal is nothing but decay or deterioration of metal when it is in contact with the environmental conditions. So in general, metal can be molded into desired one by applying suitable kind of ingredients. Additives can be added, and that can be fabricated, right? So here, when that is not properly treated, like it is under moisture conditions, if air is there, otherwise, and another impure chemicals, when they are in direct contact with these metals, what happens? They involved in deterioration, decay of that one is possible. Few of the examples are provided here. So the familiar example is rusting of iron. You can clearly observe in the rainy season, any metal rod, any iron gate, for example, whatever. So made up of iron get rusted if it is not coated with a paint, otherwise galvanized properly. So in that case also rusting can be clearly observed. When we go with the silver, so silver tarnishing we can clearly observe because in the air, so it may mix with this sulfur, so that silver sulfide formation is possible. That rusting of silver is denoted as a tarnishing. And another is a copper when it is in contact with moisture, otherwise in a sulfur again, that used to generate carbonate layer upon that. So this is also another kind of rusting process. So these are the various. So rusting is specifically denoted to iron. So corrosion is the common term in general applied for the metals, whatever they are participating in this corrosion. Corrosion purely related with the metals, because metals only having tendency to lose the electrons whenever in surrounding environment is there. So in that case, metal decay is possible, but exceptionally few metals will not respond towards corrosion and they resist towards corrosion are called noble metals. The metals like platinum, silver, gold, slight extent of silver will participate in corrosion, but most probably this is denoted as a corrosion resistant, because so when we are using silver as some utensils, otherwise silver ornaments, in that case they are not easily corroded, but under some circumstances it will be turned into a black color, otherwise such a kind of tarnishing may be possible. In general, we can say silver or platinum, these are said to be noble metals because they will resist from the corrosion. Now, let us see the detailed discussion about corrosion. Corrosion is nothing but any metal. It is in contact with acid, for example, air, for example, water, for example. In that case, so what happens? Metal will release electrons towards the environment, whatever it is in contact, so that here decay of that one is possible. And that in turn converted into oxide, hydroxide, sulfide, sulfate, carbonate, bicarbonate, whatever impurity that is in contact with. So in that manner, so here a pure metal contaminated by the environmental conditions, so the decay is possible. It loses its own metallic properties, is said to be a corrosion, right? So in order to get the information in a clear manner, we are going to perform an experiment. Take 3 test tubes. So we are taking 3 test tubes here. Nail. So here you can clearly observe. So 3 nails were taken. One is first nail is dipped into water, and second nail is dipped into water but airtight. That means air contact will not be there. In the first condition, water and air freely circulating over this nail, and this is completely closed by cork. And here in the second condition, only water or moisture condition is provided to us, but not air. Air is not given, only moisture is there. In the third condition, so this same test tube was taken. Here at the bottom, we kept the granules of calcium chloride, which is under anhydrous conditions. Here, the calcium chloride having tendency to absorb the moisture, being it is anhydrous in nature. Anhydrous calcium chloride having provision to absorb all the moisture, so that this entire container will become completely dry. So that here we have dry air in the third test tube. So 3 different test tubes were taken. So all are corked with rubber one. Rubber cork was kept on the surface, and 3 test tubes were kept with the nails. 3 different nails were introduced into this, but the reaction conditions are different in 3 compartments. What are the conditions? In the first condition, what we are doing, we are taking water. So this nail is dipped into water and free air circulation is also available. In the second one, nail is there with water, but air is not there. In the third condition, neither air nor water. So here completely dry one is there. Sorry, air is there, but water is not there. This is said to be a dry air. So where calcium chloride is absorbing all the moisture, if any present in the air even, right? That's why we can say it is a dry air. And here the second compartment, second test tube is poured with the oil layer. The purpose of oil layer is oil will not allow water to mix with the air, because it will be an insulating layer upon the surface. So we are taking the condition 2, we are taking boiled distilled water. Why boiled distilled water? While boiling, oxygen, if present in dissolved condition, will be escaped from the system. So this is the condition. So first one, water and air are direct contact with nail. Second one, only water is in contact with the nail. And third one, only air is in contact with nail. This is the experiment we are going to perform. So same experiment will be continued for state. We are not going to open, we are not going to remove, pour out all these ingredients whichever present inside. So after some time, what we are doing, we are going to observe 3 individual test tubes. What you can notice, it's very obvious that in the container number 1, it is very clear to observe this nail will participate in rusting. Whereas container B and C will not participate in this rusting process. So that is purely because of rusting requires two essential components. One is called water, second is called air. But here also water is there, here also air is there, but second component is missing. That's the reason why remaining two compartments will not participate in rusting. Rather, only first test tube which is suitable, which is having suitable conditions for rusting, that's why it only participated in rusting of iron. Let us go in detail about this experiment, what we discussed just now. We are taking labeled A, B, C test tubes in this manner and pour some water into A. A is added with water and we completely corked with the rubber cork. Pour boiled distilled water into test tube B. So here boiled distilled water was taken. The purpose is in order to escape the oxygen whichever present in dissolved condition. And 1 ml of oil was poured. Being oil is lesser density, that will float on the surface of water, which avoid the intermixing of air with water so that it will become completely dry. Then oil will float on the surface of water, which prevents the air from dissolving in water. Now put some anhydrous calcium chloride in the test tube C. Being it is anhydrous, will have tendency to absorb the moisture. Water will be absorbed here so that completely dry conditions are provided. Only air will be there in the third container. Right. So that will absorb the moisture and leave the test tube for few days, then absorb. So same test tubes were kept in a particular examination. So they are under examination. Now what we have to do after few days, we have to observe these three. It's very obvious that air and water are very essential for this metal to corrode, right? So both are required. So if one of the element is absent, so that corrosion may not be possible. That is the inference we can draw from this experiment, what we done here. Now, only water, only dry air will not cause any kind of corrosion in case of this one. This is a kind of rusting. Some other kind of corrosions also present, which may possible in the absence of moisture also. But this rusting of iron, we are very specific for rusting of iron. In case of this rusting of iron, both are equally important. One is water, second is dry air. If these two conditions are in contact with nail, then only it will, not only nail, any iron object, then it will participate in rusting. It will participate in corrosion. That's why these two are the conditions which facilitate this corrosion process, which is not a good quality for us. So just now we drawn the inference. Here is the conclusion: water and air which used to facilitate this, the corrosion process. What does this tells us? The conditions under which iron articles get corroded, iron articles get rusted. So under moisture and air, both the conditions are required for the decay of iron. Now, we have a simple representation of what is the difference between metallurgy and corrosion. Why these two topics are studied in this chapter called the Principles of Metallurgy. The reason is metallurgy is nothing but whatever form, very crude, complicated, highly mixed with so many kind of ingredients in the earth crust, otherwise mineralization. We are taking all those materials and studying their properties, in what way they can be extracted and in what way we can purify into a more suitable form. So all these comes under this metallurgical process. When go to corrosion, after extracting of this metal, after fabricating even into a suitable article, what happens? That will participate in decay. That will participate in some kind of cracks, some kind of holes are possible. Why these are possible? Why such a decay is possible? When it is in contact with air or any other environment, that is studied in this corrosion. Both are related with metal and its own properties only. That's why after metallurgy, that metal will participate in corrosion. So this combined material will extracted into a pure metal by the process called a metallurgy. That's why we are indicating with the double-headed arrow. This is a reversible process. right? So whenever metal extracted from the mineral or ore into a pure metal is said to be a reduction process, because so when metal is in contact with oxygen, hydroxide, carbonate, bicarbonate, any of the material, so during that condition it will seek the electrons, so that here pure metal get generated. That is said to be a metallurgical process. Whereas corrosion, so any metal when it is in contact with moisture, that may convert it into oxide form, that may convert it into sulfide form, that may convert it into halide form. So in that way decay is possible, which is said to be oxidation. Always metallurgy is designated as a reduction, corrosion is mentioned as a oxidation process, right? So in a metallic corrosion, metal get oxidized by the loss of electrons in generally oxygen and a result of oxide formation. Corrosion of the iron is the simplest example what we can notice in our daily life. So nowadays, so many kind of stainless steel articles are available. In order to avoid this corrosion itself, it can be blended with either chromium, nickel. Being these are passive metals, they will resist the corrosion, so that corrosion can be avoided, corrosion can be resisted. So those materials can be used in a building constructional material, any other manufacturing of machines, and also railway tracks, and also even in the household domestic stainless steels. Now, the chemistry of corrosion is a quite complex and considered essentially electrochemical, where electrons and being chemical transformations are possible. So hence, we can say it is a phenomenon of electrochemical transformation, right? During the corrosion, particular spot on the surface and the object made of iron, oxidation takes place. That spot behaves as anode. Where metal is releasing electron, that particular region being it is oxidized, hence we can say that is an anodic region. Now, simply iron get releasing electron and converted into iron plus 2 by the process called oxidation. This entire reaction get carried at the electrode called the anode. Electrons released from the metal, right? And that is regarded as anode. Now, these electrons will be transported towards water and also oxygen, so that they are converted into oxide, and they will mix with iron, and rust formation is possible, right? So the metal and reduce oxygen that spot the presence of H plus available bicarbonate, carbonic acid here formed due to the dissolution of carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide is there, what happens? That will accept these H plus ions released here, and in turn converted into carbonic acid, which is the mild acid. Carbonic acid is the mild acid. When carbon dioxide get mixed with water in the presence of acidified conditions, carbonic acid formation is possible. And air into a water, moisture, air condition of atmosphere. Hydrogen ion in water may also available due to the dissolution of other acidic oxide from the atmosphere. So this H plus either released from water, otherwise any acid content present in the air. So that also used to generate these H plus that mixed with carbon dioxide and carbonic acid will be formed. The spot behaves as a cathode. So wherever electrons acceptance is possible, that particular region now regarded as a cathodic region here. So simply it is represented as oxygen, being it is available in the air. So it is the abundant compound, and H plus also there either released from water, otherwise may be present in the air. They are accepting electrons whichever released from the metal, so that here the formation of water is possible. And iron, oxygen, 4H plus, there is a formation of Fe plus 2 and water. So here what happens, metallic iron is converted into ionic iron. Metallic iron get converted into ionic iron, and this is the process called oxidation. That's the reason we always corrosion is regarded as an oxidation process. Ferrous ion further oxidized in the atmospheric oxygen. See, it is clearly mentioned. Fe plus 2 being it is highly unstable. So if in the laboratory also, if we need Fe+2, ferrous ion is required, that can be synthesized in situ. At that spot only, at that moment only, we have to synthesize, because it is highly transient in nature. It will not be stored for longer time. Immediately it converted into Fe+3 by the atmospheric oxidation. Fe+2 being it is unstable, can rapidly treated with oxygen of air and is converted into Fe+3 form. So this is the final form of the rust. Rust is chemically denoted as Fe2O3 XH2O. That means hydrated ferric oxide is the chemical name of the rust. Let us see in a glance. First, iron is losing electrons and converted into Fe+2. Released electrons gained by oxygen in the presence of H+ released from water. And there is a formation of water molecule. Iron plus oxygen plus H. This is the overall reaction we can observe in rusting process. So that Fe+2 formed. Formed Fe+2 being it is highly unstable, still it proceeded for the chemical reaction with atmospheric oxygen, so that converted into a stable form called Fe+3. So here, chemical formula of rust is hydrated ferric oxide, and it is designated as Fe2O3 H2O. So with the further production of hydrogen, during this rusting process, hydrogen gas is also evolved. Hydrogen gas is coming out. So this is a process of rusting. So we completed simple introduction for this corrosion process in this session. So what we discussed here, what is meant by corrosion and what are the examples related with this one, and with a reference to the rusting of iron, entire mechanism was discussed here. And in the next session, we are going to discuss about what happens if metal corroded. Why we have to study this? What is the purpose of studying corrosion, and how can we prevent? All those topics will be covered in the next session. Hope this will helpful for your preparation. Thank you very much for your consistent listening. Thank you one and all.